Hello friends, Coach Bob with you today, and today we are dealing with the constant hassles of motorcycle ownership. You know, it seems to me that whenever you get ready to go on a big trip, does something always go wrong for you? Well, it does for me. It's never really a big deal, but it could be a big deal if we allow it to be. So I'm gonna show you what I'm contending with here. Let me unplug this battery tender real quick. All right, easy enough there. Let's take this thing, turn it on, take it out of park. Let's push it back a little bit, give us a little more room to work. What do you think? I think that sounds like a good idea. Put it in park, that way it doesn't roll over my big old head. Hit the mode light. I'm gonna show you the problem. Here we go. There it is. You're looking at a Cyclops. One eye. Very, very frustrated, I will tell you that. And of course, you know, it's one for the high, one for the low. It's only one bulb. Very frustrating. So I know what you're saying. You're saying, well, Coach, you need to upgrade those lights with LEDs. Coach, you need to change that out. You need to spend a little more money. Get the heat sink, get all the stuff. I agree with you. However, I am leaving in less than 16 hours. I'll be on the road with Louisiana Mike, heading over to the DeLand Spyder rally. Well, with that in mind, knowing that I don't want to ride with one headlight, because if that one went out, what if on the road, the other one went out, then I'm in a real world of hurt. That's the idea of having two headlights. You do have a little redundancy, and that's a good thing. So what did I discover? I discovered a couple of things. One, headlights are available at an auto parts store for this machine. Two, if you're looking at the BRP website, they can't help you with the headlight size. They just can't do it. And if they can, they won't. Three, anything that's sold by Lamonster, Sling Mods, that sort of stuff is an upgrade. They have LED type stuff, and it is better than what came on the Spyder. However, because I'm leaving in 16 hours, I don't have time to wait. Changing out a headlight, as any of you know, is really simple. You pop the back off the light, you pull the thing out. That's all there is to it. However, on the Spyder, in order to get to the light, gotta come off, gotta come off, gotta come off, gotta come off, gotta come off. Yeah, you gotta disassemble the darn machine in order to get the headlight out. While I have it out, I went ahead and bought a pair. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace both sides, and then I'll take the old one from the port side here, and I will use it as a spare, and I'll keep it in the bag on the road. As long as I have the tools I need to disassemble this thing, I'll have an extra bulb in the future, and that's always a plus. So let me grab these bulbs, and I'll show you what I got. Is it gonna be an upgrade? I doubt it, but it is what it is. So I did the old search, and I found this, Sylvania 9005. This is the Silver Star Ultra, brightest down road and wider light, which I doubt very seriously. They are halogen lamps, and they are, when you type in on the O'Reilly Auto Parts webpage, it shows that it is an exact fit to replace this bulb. Is it? I hope it is, because by the time I get this thing apart, if it's not, I'm not gonna be a happy dude. Let's just see what happens. Information online is limited at best. So we've got a part, we got a machine, we got tools, we got time, and we have a video camera. So let's do this and see if we can't get this darn headlight working, because I want to get on the road in the morning, and I'd prefer to see after dark. All right, for those of you with the 19 and earlier, if you don't have the magic mirrors, after this video, order them. Or even during this video, just go ahead and grab your phone and order them right now, because I can tell you the magic mirrors are a must. Here's why. No hitting, no pranging, no breaking plastic tabs. Simply grab the light, grab the mirror, pull it out, make sure you don't yank the wires on this thing, and just work them out. Now, of course, I have some accessory stuff on there, so I'm going to pull both sides out. And I'm just going to go a little further out than I normally would and just pull that off. That's how easy it is. And no pun intended, we just mirror it for the other side. So less than 1 minute to get both mirrors off. I can tell you that is a lot less stressful Now the next thing I do is I pull these push pins. It may not be the next thing you do, that's just the next thing I do. Now I don't have the fancy plier push pin puller, but I do have this little auto light or auto craft piece, and it'll normally just slide right in there and lift that push pin right up. That's all there is to it. You don't have to pull it out like that, but you know. The same thing on both sides. Now I will tell you, the very first time I did this, I was a very nervous man. I'm not going to tell you that I really enjoy disassembling the Spyder, but it's part of the Spyder experience. With me, anything that doesn't require a tool, I go ahead and get that stuff off and out of the way. So these are going to be next. There's a little tab that wraps around there. You don't want to break that off. These down here, although they always feel tight, they just pop on and off. So you just want to work around that tab. You don't want to break that top tab off. It's going to feel awkward as you do this because it just feels like you're going to break something. So I could lift the tab, I could pivot it and move it around. And there's the little tab I'm talking about. Just don't want to break that off. Everything else pushes in. Even if it feels tight, it just pushes in. You can see I've got a little grease around all these things, and I'll put grease on them when I put this back together. All right, so the next thing that has to come off, this right here has to come off, and which of course your wind deflectors, and then the shroud can come off. But you can see the shroud runs up under this piece. So without removing this piece, you're not going to be able to remove that. You got to remove that to get to the headlights. We'll talk about all that. This is your headlight adjustment piece. This has to be removed. We'll figure all that out once we get there. Again, I've never done this, so you're learning with me. I'm just going. I'm wing dinging it. So let me grab a Torx wrench and we're going to get going on this. All right, so again, it's I'll write down the size. The size on this thing is a Torx 30. So the Torx 30 is what you need to take the plastic pieces off. I have not really loosened these up. I don't really put things on real tight on this thing. I'm just going to be honest with you. This just doesn't necessitate it. If I have to get this, it's not going to be tight at all, though. I can tell you. You can see it's that easy. And once I just go around and loosen them up. And as I loosen them up, I just pull them out. Be careful with your magic mirrors because that magnet will grab anything and everything that's metal, I assure you. Always be careful also as you're doing these things. Don't let these wires drop back in there. You'll fish them out. It is a pain. Take all the screws, drop them in here. They are the same size too, by the way. Am I pulling every one off that I need to at the very beginning? Probably not. So let's get this one here loosened up. You can do this with a power tool a lot faster, and I've seen guys do that. I'm just dealing with plastic and I normally don't. But you can do what you want to do. Just mirror the other side with what we've got so far. Another one right here. Go ahead and pull it. Although that's not necessary, I don't think, for this piece. Probably all that's holding that on at this point is the wind deflector screws. Again, don't stress about this kind of stuff. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take that long. There we go. So you can see this at this point. If I pull this out, it's all loose here. So everything that's holding this on is loose. There are a couple of push pins right up under here. You just have to work with them and pull them, and then that piece comes right off. Same thing on this side. Just going through loosening everything. Again, the first time I did this, I was a train wreck. Now, I'm just an old geezer who doesn't stress too much about it. I do not like the fact that I'm having to take things apart, though, the day before I go on a trip, I'll tell you that. And I guess I really technically don't have to. I'm just not going to go with one headlight. Again, you look, you move, this front part's all loose. Back screws out, that's loose. The only thing holding it on, push pins right here, take your hand, drive it down behind it, comes right out. So now we have to get this shroud off, right? So we've got 2 screws right here. These were covered by that side piece of plastic. If that little rascal there was accessible from the outside, we could have probably done all this without taking everything off, but it's just the way it is. It's the nature of the machine. Anybody who's worked on, you know, old cars or, you know, that one's got a little grime in there, obviously. But anyone who's ever worked on old cars and old Jeeps, you realize that, you know, 90% of the time when you have a problem, that problem is not, it's not accessible. You have to take 15 things apart just to get to the one thing you're working on. It's just the nature of it. This is that same screw on the other side, so I'm not even gonna move the camera. One of the folks are going, I can't see what you're doing, man. It's okay, you'll be fine. Now, I believe there might be something down here too. Yep, right there. There's 2, you can't really see them. My finger's touching them, so they're easily accessible. Let's see how easily accessible they are. Yes, the extension will even work, yes. And again, you always try not to drop your screws. Not that that would ever happen to me. You know, I'm sure it happens to you guys, but never me. Also, I have my little Tupperware bowl that I put all the screws in. When I get all this taken apart, that Tupperware will go on the other side of the garage, because I'm sure, once again, you would do it. I would never do this, but you might trip over that little bowl or step on it or knock it over, and then the screws go flying everywhere. I would never do that, but you might, so just be very careful with that. Might make you cuss a little bit. Oh yeah. I place those under a motorcycle. All right, so we're here. We have arrived. And now I'm gonna be going into territory I've never gone into. Now I know it was the right headlight that wasn't working. So again, this is the one I'm gonna be messing with. I know that there are some 10 millimeters right here. There's one here, there's one here, there's one there, there's one there. So it appears to me, looking at it, that there are 4. This one's way back up in here again. Just be careful not to drop them. The other thing that you have to do on the headlight is there's an adjustment screw, and it is right here. And that adjustment screw, there's a big brass nut here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this brass nut off. Yes, it was only finger tight. Can you imagine that? Yes. Anyway, this little thumb screw is how you adjust your headlight. If you don't take this out, the headlight is not going to come out. It is going to be bound by this cable. So you can see it runs up into the headlight housing. That's all it was that brass nut on that going through a hole right here. That's all it was. So that part's done, pretty easy. I'm gonna take this brass nut, I'm gonna put it in my box O screws. Again, you know, when you do this stuff, you look at life and you go, man, I'm in a hurry. I've got this to do. I've got that to do. Do I really want to do this before I go on the road tomorrow? Again, it's not something you really want to do. But I think that if you're gonna be honest with yourself, you just have to replace these things as they go out. Now, I've never done this. I did look and see what a couple of guys have done, and it looked easy enough. I didn't dive deep into what they did. It just looked pretty straightforward to me. Now, once I get in and start trying to replace the bulb, is it going to be as straightforward as I think? One can only hope. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I'm going to leave that other one in there just a smidgen to keep everything flopping out of there on me. Again, I'm being as careful as I can not to drop a screw. All right. Okay, there's that last screw. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. Yeah, not a whole lot to it, really. So, just from looking at it, this this little dealy whopper here has to come off. It looks like it's just a compression piece. So this right here, there's the thumb tab right there. Just press that in, lifts right out. And it appears to me that you would just twist and pull, and there she is. Now what I'm gonna do now, they always tell you don't get skin oils on a headlight. So I am going to pop this headlight off, grab the other headlight, and I'm just gonna be careful not to touch it. I will give you the exact numbers off of the stock headlight. So here's the stock headlight. It is a Sylvania 9005. Go figure, exactly what I just bought. So let's open the old pack, AKA the new pack. I may have said this at the beginning, but what I am going to do is I'm going to take these lights while I'm in here. I may as well replace both of them. Now this will only go one way. You'll see there's two little notches right there. And those two little notches, there will be notches that they will slide into. So it can only go one way. And you'll hear it lock. Once it locks, put it into the compartment. There again, this stuff will normally only go one way, and that's exactly how it was. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the Spyder on because I want to make sure that it was a light bulb and not a crimped wire of some kind. So let's do that now. Now the Spyder, whether you know this or not, the light will not come on when you turn the key on. You have to crank it. So let's do that. And we have a headlight. So we had a bad bulb. There you go. 2019 with 23,000 miles, bad light bulb. So let's put this baby back together on this side and replace the other headlight. And we'll take the headlight that is in the other side and put it in a pack untouched by human hands, and we will have a spare for when we travel. Let's do that now. All you need is a 30 Torx and a 10 mil socket. That's all you need to do this job. Everything else you can do. The push pin puller is convenient, but you can do it with a screwdriver, just about any. You can do it with a pocket knife if you had to. Make sure when you're putting all this stuff back in here that you don't crimp wires, because there again, then you're just creating another problem that you're going to have to deal with down the road. So you can see this wire right here. There's a notch there, and if you miss that notch, you're going to pinch that rascal, and you are going to be very upset. You would be. I wouldn't be, because I never get mad at anything. Now, one thing, don't forget to put this back on. You know, you were gonna let me forget. I can tell. Don't forget to put this back on, because if you do, you're gonna get the headlight back on and then you're gonna be upset. Just like that. Double check, make sure it's not loose and all that stuff. Again, don't crimp the wires, don't do that. Now, I always, as I'm doing this, I'm looking for anything that might be binding. And I will tell you, I'm very paranoid about that stuff. Anyone who ever worked on old cars and has ever had the little, we'll say the little electrical fire. The little electrical fires are highly overrated. So when you do these things, and I've mentioned this before, for me, I like to let the bolt pull itself in. You're not pushing it in, it is pulling itself in. And that way you are less prone, I said less prone, less prone to cross thread. Does that mean that you can't cross thread? No, it does not mean that. You can certainly cross thread anything, but it gives you less of an opportunity if you let the bolt do the work. And as you do things, again, see how that wire wants to fall down in there? Just make sure it doesn't, because it will cramp, man, and you will be cussing. By the way, do me a favor, if you haven't done it yet, go down below, just hit pause right now, and go down below and give this video a thumbs up, like it, share it with your friends, tell everybody that I don't know what the heck I'm doing, and I am okay with that, because the reality is I don't. Oh, nice. And I will be happier, because I can't be much happier. I'm happy. I got a headlight. It's crazy. He's got a headlight. Not a Cyclops anymore. Again, just kind of jostle things around, watching this wire. Notice I did not tighten any of them. I just simply got them all started. And that's what you want to do. Because if you tighten them, I promise you, the others aren't going to line up. You may think they're going to. In fact, go ahead and believe it, and tighten one up at a time. And then you'll go back and you'll be throwing your wrench, getting upset, and all that stuff. You know, and then you'll be going inside and your wife's gonna be going, what is wrong with you? You're a crazy person. I thought you liked working on stuff. You told me you liked working on stuff, but apparently you lied because all you do is cuss and throw tools when you're out there. What in the world are you thinking? Watch the Coach Bob channel. He doesn't cuss and throw tools. Here's a little rant for you. Am I a lunatic? It's quite possible. Now notice, I am not killing this stuff, man. This is plastic. If you want to kill it, feel free. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. And you can't make me. All right, so I went ahead and did the other headlight. Everything's working fine. Double checked everything. I will let you know, one thing that I did have happen was one of the bulbs did not work between bright and dim. And so I went back to O'Reilly. It was a bulb problem. I exchanged it for another pack. Everything's working just right. Let's do a quick check though before we put it together, ensuring that I didn't crimp anything or cut anything in the process. That's good. All right, so the lights are working. Now it's time to do a little reassembly. Let's get this done. In fact, let's just do a little time lapse. I think you can reverse this on your own, but a little time lapse might be fun. So let's go at it. All right, well, so as with any job, it's always gonna have its hang-ups, its snags, that sort of thing. Again, like I said, I bought new headlights and one of them was defective, so therefore when I took it back, fortunately the guy up at O'Reilly, he said, look, I've only got one pack left and that pack has been opened before, so I can't guarantee you that there's nothing wrong with it. So he said, take the pack of 2, and if one of them doesn't work, you've got a good one. If both of them don't work, bring them both back. Just bring me back what doesn't work and bring me at least one back though, because I know you have one that does work. So that was really nice of him. So I'm gonna finish cleaning the Spyder up. I'm gonna load up and I'm gonna take this thing up to O'Reilly's. I wanna thank O'Reilly's for being so kind to me because they saved me a trip, because it would have added an additional trip had I just gotten a 1 pack and that thing been defective like the other one. You know, whenever you're getting things that have been opened before, it's just kind of the nature of the game. You don't really know what's happened to it and that sort of thing. So just try not to stress out about this stuff, but I've got everything back together. And let's crank this bad boy up. Oh yeah, kind of like a Spyder does. So you can see and here's the brakes. So we're spot on, so to speak. Everything is working. Always when you do anything, check all of your blinkers, make sure everything's working properly all the way around. Let's go to the other side. Check the mirror up here. And working. So one more thing. Let's see if we can check the brake. See if I'm long and tall enough to do this. We got brake lights. So everything is working on the Spyder. Very good. So again, don't freak out when you have things going. Always check the Spyder over before you go on a trip. I could have gotten out on the road. This could have been a problem, especially if that other light would have burned out. Not having redundancy, that was the only thing that scared me. Look, the visibility at night with one headlight was more than adequate last night. I rode with it when we went to go get something to eat. But having only one light, if that other light burned out, there is no redundancy, you're out there. Now, I did have one good bulb right here. So I'm gonna take that bulb, I'm gonna wrap it in plastic and secure it and keep it in the Spyder. And if I ever run into a problem, I'll have an extra headlight. Would I want to do this repair on the side of the road? No, but I have the tools in my bag to do it if necessary. There's really not a lot of tools needed. A pair of pliers for the little brass nut, just in case it gets shimmied on there tight, a 30 Torx and a 10mm socket, and you can do this on the side of the road if necessary. So hopefully you got something out of that. Remember, expect the unexpected and don't freak out when it happens, because it always does. So until next time, go out, buy the motorcycle of your dreams, even if it is a cantankerous Spyder with one eyeball. Eat right, take care of yourself, and remember, if you're not having fun, you are definitely doing it wrong. Now you go seize the day. I'll see you on the road real soon.